All right, guys. So today I got a bit of a special one for you. I want to describe and talk about how women and men, unfortunately, of today demoralize men who are walking away, demoralize men who aren't playing the game, who aren't playing into hypergamy. Now, this is a comment that I made in the comment section of Donovan Sharp. Who I have a little bit of a problem with because to some extent he kind of plays into hypergamy by playing the whole Rollo Tomasi solution, quote unquote, to be the man, be the higher value male, be the man that she can't dump for a better man, basically playing into hypergamy, which I've always had a problem with that. So I I never thought that that was a good idea. I never thought that that was really doing the red pill justice. To me, that's somewhat blue pilled. It's somewhat blue pilled to try to impress her and keep her interested through, um, you know, being the best that she can get and blah blah blah, and never showing emotion and all this stuff. And it's just like, dude, if female nature is hypergamous, what does that matter? Like, oh, okay, so you're playing into hypergamy. Anyway, I don't want to get into that. I've got into that in other videos, and it's pointless. But I want to talk about how these women and men, unfortunately today, browbeat us and shame us if we're walking away. They call us betas. They call us losers. So this video is called "Clueless 41-Year-Old Woman Doesn't Know Why Men Don't Take Her Out on Dates." So that's it. That's self-explanatory. She's 41. What man is going to wine and dine a 41-year-old after she's hit the wall, after she's past her prime? What does she have to offer? And from a biological standpoint, I agree with that. However, it leaves this open. It leaves this other idea that, oh, relationships and love and marriage and sex is all just an exchange of youth and beauty for resources. And when you say that, it boils it down to something that is not love. It boils it down to something that is not real. It boils it down to something that is animalistic, and it's kind of sick. And I agree that that's how it often is. And I would say, from my perspective, if you remove resources from a relationship, from particularly from the man side of the relationship, then what does the woman have to be there anymore? See, women claim love and all this kind of crap, but if you remove resources from the equation, she's not going to be there, and 9 out of 10 women are not going to be there. And I've heard it again and again. All these women say, "Oh, I was in love with a bum. I dated a guy who didn't have a job for 5 years," and woo woo. And there's always these weird women who come out of the woodwork as exceptions, but that's not the norm. That's not, even if it's true, it's not the norm. And probably you were really considering dumping that guy. And a lot of times, some of these women who come out of the woodwork and say, "I dated a guy, woo woo," it was their ex-boyfriend. And then when you really talk to them at length, they start saying, "Well, he was a bum, and he wasn't motivated, and woo-woo." I was like, okay, well, did you really love him? I guess not. So I guess what you really wanted out of him was you wanted him to be a quote-unquote real man, and you wanted him to man up, and you wanted him to go work. And when he didn't, then you dumped him. So there you go. That's hypergamy. So it's funny how it almost always plays out, and they expose themselves. But anyway, so I made a video about 5 years ago saying why you shouldn't take women on dates. Never take women on dates. And my reasoning behind that was, when you do that, it automatically subconsciously puts them above you. It puts them on a higher level than you. It means you're trying to impress them. It puts them in the buyer frame, puts you in the buyer frame, puts them in the seller frame. And the seller usually has more power than the buyer, because the seller can dictate the market. They can dictate how much they're worth. And it's just been a bad culture. It's been a bad practice that we have. Oh, we got to wine and dine the woman on a date, and they just take advantage of us, and they just look at us like we're stupid for spending money on them, and then they just use us for free food, and then they sell themselves to the highest bidder, and that's hypergamy. And that's why I said don't ever take women on dates. So here's what I say, which is kind of backing that up. Taking women on dates is a really stupid move in general. It puts the man in the buyer frame and puts her on a pedestal immediately. From a psychological standpoint, it's not a good move for men. I've been saying this for years and years now, not to mention the fact that women often abuse it and just use it for validation and free meals. Simple. That's just straightforward. That's what happens. And 62 guys liked it. And again, this is on a Donovan Sharp video, right? About a clueless 41-year-old woman who doesn't know why men don't take her on dates, because these women are dumb and they think, oh, I'm a woman and I've got the golden vagina that's going to last forever. And then they hit 30 and then they hit 35 and they hit the wall and they realize guys don't want them anymore because what they have to offer, looks or whatever, it's not popping anymore. It's not hot anymore. Guys don't want you anymore. So they're not going to be taking you on dates. They're not going to be doing that bullshit. But of course I argue from a macro, from an overarching standpoint, that all relationships are about buying and selling. The woman is selling herself, she's selling pussy, and men are buying it, and she's selling herself to the highest bidder, and this is hypergamy, and it's sick. Okay, and there's exceptions, but it's usually like, oh well, I still love this man, I love him, but if he didn't have money, if he didn't have a way to provide, if he didn't have a house to go home, if he didn't have a nest, then you would find somebody else. And this is female nature. This is why love is not real for the most part. There's always exceptions, but it's not really real. A part of a woman's love is, feeling secure and feeling security and feeling that the man is providing resources to have children with and to have a life. And if the man doesn't, then her love is gone and she'll love, quote unquote, somebody else, which is not real love. And that's something that I've argued forever. Now, here's a woman who's trying to browbeat me. She's taking that and she's trying to shame me that I'm walking away from that whole institution. She's trying to shame me that I'm telling the truth about hypergamy. So here she comes in. And she says, men are valued for their ability to provide and protect as opposed to their beauty, youth, fertility, and domestic qualities. That's fine. Maybe that's true. But you want to know what? I want no part of that. My value is something higher than just what I can provide. My value is something higher than just money. My value is something higher than resources. That's a sick world that does that. It's a sick biology. Call it whatever you want. I want no part of it. And many men also are walking away. It's called the MGTOW movement. And the red pill is providing the truth. And however men decide to adapt to that or react to that is how men are deciding. So I say, yeah, and we need to change this. She says, from a biological standpoint, we will never be able to change it. This is her little bullshit. This is how she's starting to shame me. Watch. Women are wired to seek out security. If you can't provide and protect, she considers you a risky option for reproduction. It's just as impossible as trying to change men's preferences in young women. Well, like I said, there's always exceptions. One, I've seen it. Not a lot, but I've seen it. Okay, 1, 2, okay, if that's the way that it is, then I'm walking away. I want no part of that. I do not want to be your little bank account. I do not want to be your little security provider, and you'll leave me if I can't do that. That's not love. That's not loyalty. Hypergamy is not love. Hypergamy is not loyalty. I've said that for years. I don't want no part of that. And men should wake up and put an end to it. Stop playing into it and I've got the best toys. That's all it is. That's all this whole world is saying, oh, I've got the best toys. I've got the most money. I've got the nicest house, blah, blah, blah. That's all these celebrities flexing. That's all these guys out here acting like they're the top dog. That's all they're doing. It's all from a biological standpoint, it's all peacocking. It's all saying, oh, look at me. I have access to the best women because I have the most resources. And that's sad, and it makes us tools. It makes us a utility. So I say, which is why men are walking away. You women are losing your options and settling for weak men just for their money. And I think this is true. I think strong men are waking up to this. I think woke men who have taken the red pill and who are following the truth, are walking away from that bullshit. We're no longer playing into hypergamy. We're no longer taking women on dates. We're no longer using money and resources to entice women into being with us because that's weak. That in and of itself is beta. Oh, you don't love me from who I am. You don't love me for my character. You don't love me for my personality. You don't love me because I'm special to you. I'm just a means to an end. If I didn't have the money, you'd leave me. Then you're not worth it. You're not worthy of my love. You're not worthy of settling down with. Like I said, we already are walking away. Men are running away from marriage and commitment. I think she erased one of her comments, which leaves you with the desperate beta males left over. So yeah, if you're using money to entice a woman into a relationship, in my mind, you're beta male. Okay? If you're using money to keep a woman around, in my mind, you are placating her. You are buying her love. Stay tuned for part 2. Hold on.